should have realized these holidays were going to be interesting given the number of mishaps and issues right from the moment our London-Cancun flight touched down, or rather, almost touched down. In fact, just seconds before hitting the ground, the plane pulled back up and had to circle for a few minutes because of what the pilot cheerfully described as minor technical issues, which nevertheless resulted in us landing on the longest runway at a rather unsettlingly high speed. Then, since the first to check in are apparently also the last to get their luggage, I ended up waiting at the baggage claim for about an hour, starting to suspect they'd lost my bag altogether. Finally, after an hour-long bus ride, I arrived at the Hotel Casa de las Flores in Playa del Carmen. From there, I got a restaurant recommendation, went out to eat, and had a wander around the city.
DJ Santos. DJ Santos.
On a tour like this, the first day is usually arrival day. You meet the group at 6, but before that there is free time, especially if, like me, you arrived the day before. My goal was to do the PADI Reactivate, which is a course that PADI requires you to take before a dive if you haven't done any diving in the previous 6 months. And that's when I immediately realized that safety rules in the area weren't very strict. Not only did the local PADI shop not care about doing the Reactivate, but my instructor, considering I did the course with another guy, a very nice funny Finnish girl, blonde and not a certified PADI instructor, did explain how to do the body check before diving, with a few gaps, but then didn't actually have us do it before the dives. Also, just to mention more unexpected issues, between the course and the 2 dives, she suggested we eat since we'd be going out to sea by boat and wouldn't have another chance until 4 p.m. Long story short, after the first dive I got terrible seasickness, couldn't do the second dive and threw up a lot while on the boat. But even though we didn't see much, just the stingray from the video, the experience of floating in zero gravity underwater is always wonderful. The visibility was exceptional and I really enjoyed the dive. I mean, before I got sick. In the evening, I met the group. I'll say it right away. They were all wonderful. I'll try to describe them as we met them in the video. On day 2, we set off for Merida, stopping at the Mayan ruins of Chichen Itza, famous for its step pyramid that, twice a year, with the sunlight, show a serpent descending the pyramid itself. The serpents represent Kulkan, a god similar to the Aztec Quetzalcoatl. The whole temple is full of astronomical references, making it a giant calendar. If in the video you hear people clapping, it's because a clap produces a sound that, echoing off the pyramid, turns into something similar to the chirping call of the Quetzal, a sacred bird for the Maya, which is also now the name of the currency in Guatemala or Belize. This is obviously not by chance, and it shows the engineering skills of the Maya people. Also, as you may have guessed from the video, the local tour guides, before becoming official guides, probably have to pass an exam on how to clap properly. Later on, we'll see the skills required for guides at the different attractions.
Closer, please. Can you see the original floor, my friends? Pay attention. Hola. Tequila. Cerveza.
By 15, whatever that is.
Tacos.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Mayan WhatsApp.
This is a field for a sport played with a ball so heavy that to hit it, players had to use their elbows or at least part of their body that weren't fragile. The goal was to get the ball through a ring placed high up. You can barely see it in the video. The captain of the winning team had the honor of being beheaded. I would have always played terribly. Gotta love being Maya. And this is the first cenote. I will speak later about the cenotes in general.
Meters. And from there's a 4-meter layer of mud. There all the human and animal remain.
Let me introduce the first member of the group, Victoria. You'll see her in the photos at the end of the Chichen Itza section. She was convinced within minutes by the philosophy that on vacation you should relax and enjoy yourself. She forgot years of intermittent fasting and gave in to the joys of food. I think that, once back home, she ditched the diet for a more flambe. One evening I tried the black mole, something with a very strange taste that really confused me. I can't tell you whether it was good or bad, but I can tell you that she called it a dessert and ate it as if it were the most delicious thing in the world. You are seeing it in this picture. I think it's pretty clear, just by putting the two videos side by side, that between me and Victoria, I was the real salsa expert. Then, of course, Alex and I had some slight issue figuring out who was supposed to lead, considering that in salsa, the man leads. This is Ellen. This tour was part of her honeymoon with Grace. This was day 3, which we spent doing an optional cenotes tour. The delirious conversation we had when it was just me, her, Grace and Victoria in the car, between Victoria's relentless hunger, my secret techniques for undressing a woman in a single move, jokes about finding a sombrero and learning to play the maracas and more, made it one of the funniest days. But what are cenotes? They are a network of underground caves, mainly made of limestone, where water flows and that are apparently all connected to each other. In some cases, the rock collapses and exposes them to the open air. In others, they are completely closed, and in others they are partially open. Their ecosystem and rock formations are unique and fragile, enough that anyone entering the water is required not to wear certain creams. But this helps preserve the water's incredible clarity and crystal-like color. Also, many guys say that the meteorite that whipped out the dinosaurs fell in Mexico, and cenotes form a sort of large circular pattern on the map precisely because they are believed to have formed around the meteorite impact point. This is the cenote where Victoria and I, before going in, agreed to take a photo of each other. Except that while I was getting ready to take the first picture of her, some guy came out of the darkness and offered to take thousands of photos of Victoria, who then left me there waiting for 5 minutes. In the end, I gave up on my photo and went to enjoy the cenote. Her justification afterward was, yeah, but he was taking such professional pictures. In order to understand the jokes that you will see now, when I'm swimming in the last cenote, we have to remind that during my travel by car to the cenote with Victoria, Ellen and Grace, we were also discussing about me buying a sombrero, the maracas, and the typical dress for the mariachi. So there were a lot of jokes during that day about learning how to play the maracas.
Which one?
Just for the sake of names, this is Grace, Ellen's wife. This is Evelyn. This is Victoria, as you may imagine. And I think over there we have Catherine.
I will use this against you. I will use this against you. Can you show me how to play maracas?
It was good.
I'm going slowly. No.
I'm gonna regret this when it's on YouTube.
Yes, probably yes.
Ice cream. Guatemala ice cream. We fly.
How's it going, cameraman?
And here we have McRae and Larry.
Good or good?
That should be able to get the trick. Like, I just like.
We have to do like a course of maracas. They may have it.
After the day at the cenotes, I had a bout of nausea and a very high fever that knocked me out for the entire night. The next day was a travel day, the mysterious day 4, of which I have no memory, with a 10-hour bus ride to get to Palenque. And from there I had another setback, serious stomach issues, on top of a very high fever. Ah, by the way, this is Nicole, and behind her there is Mari.
The Mayas burn limestone with trees, with wood. Now they don't do that. Now they use gas and other things, right? But the ancient Mayas burned rock with wood. So it required, for 1 kilo of stone they burned, 20 kilos of wood.
Oh, wow.
So we know that the Mayas were here for 1,000 years. And we know that the Mayas built 1,484 buildings. And every building was restuccoed every 5 to 10 years.
Oh, that took a lot of wood.
That took a lot of wood.
All of this peaked on day 5, when we went on an optional jungle tour and then headed to the ruins of Palenque. But there I had severe stomach problem and a very high fever, so I ended up resting on a stone. But I don't think I missed much.
Not with my hat.
Oh, wow, you're gonna really.
Oh, I don't think I'm passing. I don't think I'm passing.
Okay.
Sorry.
Coming back, everyone reverse.
It's too narrow for me. Whoop, sorry.
So there, bite it.
They do taste like carrot. Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly like carrot.
Yeah, and
That's weird.
forced into uni today.
Yeah.
If you
Okay, we have a wobbly one at the beginning.
Evelyn, point your torch at your face. Turn around and point it. Yes. Got it.
This is the worst part.
Okay, where's my torch? Okay.
If you can give me a bit of light, yes.
Have you a torch? Have you a torch, Alex? Or Andrea?
No,
Who's behind? Have you a torch?
I don't know.
Now, as you have heard, Terry was calling me Alex. You may imagine that day 5 a person can make a mistake. But the problem is, Terry has done the same mistakes for the full trip. Literally, the last day when we were having breakfast together, he called me Alex for the last time.
And pay attention to the head.
Okay, I'll stay there, Andrea. I'll point the light back. Wait
Yeah,
for a
don't
moment.
worry.
Wait for a moment.
Till I'm close to you, I can see it. It's not a problem. That's fine. Whoa! Wait. Ouch.
Oh, the water was nice.
Ooh.
You want to go, and I will give a light back here.
Aye. Nice. Fresh.
Here we are. This was after I was feeling very sick and I rested on the rock. So after like let's say 1 hour, probably 1 hour and a half, I was starting feeling a bit better, and I decided to do a very quick walk around just to have an idea of what the ruins of Palenque were looking like. Obviously, once I went back to the hotel with paracetamol, I was able to recover quite quickly, and I was also able to have a swim at the swimming pool. For day 6, I decided to skip every activity and spend the day with Victoria and Debbie in Palenque.
Victoria, smile.
Day 7 we crossed the border with Guatemala to go to Flores, and there was nothing in particular in this day apart this dinner in this wonderful area that was partially flooded. It was very nice. And then me, Terry and Caroline, we went on a boat that was basically a transport, but it was used for drinking and having party, and there was this group of girls that were distributing t-shirt, hat and condoms.
No como amigos, y yo te veo y no sé cómo actuar. Pero no sé, yo no me voy a quitar. Tengo fe que esos ojitos un día me van a mirar. Yo me caso contigo, mi nombre suena bien con tu apellido. Estoy esperando a que me des cuenta. No pienses darte como mi marido.
Here we are at the Parque Nacional Tikal, another place with Mayan ruins. It's important to note that these ruins have always been found deep in the jungle, to the point that some pyramids or buildings looked, and still look, like nothing more than mounds of earth, when in reality they have just been covered by nature. In some places there is even a legal battle between those who want to protect the jungle and those who would like to bring the structures back to the surface, where, of course, uncovering them would mean damaging the natural environment. Once again, the local guides must have had to pass some kind of certification exam to become official guides, one where they had to prove they could imitate a monkey call.
Can't see anything. I can see the branch.
It is replying, but I cannot see it.
Maybe it's hiding from me.
I don't see it either. Oh, after. Yeah, one.
I don't remember whether this was just the funerary area or also the Acropolis. Either way, in terms of view, it was absolutely stunning. A funny note, while I was trying to take a photo, a girl struck a seated pose that I wanted to copy, so I went over to Debbie and whispered, "I want to take the same photo." The girl heard me and started laughing. She's the same girl who laughed at the monkey joke you are about to see.
I can imagine him thinking, why those guys are looking at me eating.
It's my food.
We are now in front of the temple number 4. That is the highest temple here in Tikal, with 17 meters high. This temple is known as the temple of the double-headed snake because
It is very nice.
that's the best up here.
The view from the top of Temple 4 was worth the effort to get up there. In fact, according to what our guide Alex told us, from that height you could see the border with Mexico. Larry also had a super professional pair of binoculars. We are talking 3,000 or 4,000 euros worth, which let us see everything around us.
What I think is there before the other mountains start. That would be Calakmul. We cannot see it clearly from here.
All in all, beautiful. But after that, considering the heat and the effort, I wisely decided not to climb the last temple and fuck off the Maya.
That should be a bit bigger. No, I'm not going to climb there. No, not going to climb there. Still love my knees.
I think a quick recap of the photos you have just seen is in order. After Tikal, we went to the hotel and then headed out for dinner and a boat tour. The next day, day 9, I had breakfast with Victoria, as you can see in the photo, and then we had a long journey from Flores to San Ignacio, crossing from Guatemala into Belize. San Ignacio wasn't exactly a metropolis, so we had lunch, rested, attended a presentation of all the optional activities, had dinner, drinks, and then back to the hotel. As I mentioned, this trip had quite a few unexpected events. On the evening of day 9, not only did the bonding of my incisor, done less than a year ago, come off, leaving it chipped, but I also found a lovely cockroach in my room the size of a cat. I called the receptionist, who helped me get rid of it, and I hope he actually did, because according to him he couldn't change my room since the hotel was full. Then finally, day 10, dedicated to horseback riding and river tubing.
Párate a aquel lado para que tú bajes aquí.
Got that? Yeah. That is not drawing.
Horse riding is actually a great activity, in which you get synergy with the horse. The problem was that this horse didn't give a fuck, and he just wanted to stop to eat. For that reason, I called him, or her, I don't know, Ellen, because after a meal he was just planning for the next one. If you are asking yourself why I didn't call him Victoria, it is easy. Victoria was also becoming violent in between a meal and the other, while I suspect Ellen becomes violent only in private and for other reasons, but this is another story.
Sister. Are we going?
Put up your rein.
Yeah. Can we go, please? No, I want to finish eating.
Just put it up by the root.
Oh, we have our...
During the horseback ride, there were a few moments that I described as unusual. The first was when Gillian overtook me and, a second later, her horse dropped an absolute massive dump right under my horse's nose, which jerked its head and turned it as if to say, "What a shitty life." The second was when my horse decided to break into a full gallop. The third was when we were heading back to the starting point and I saw Larry riding at full speed like a professional jockey, only to find out that his horse had simply decided to do that on its own. Anyway, it was a great experience and I really enjoyed it, and it was something I'd never done before, so it was exciting.
Alright guys, so welcome to the epicenter of Buena Vista del Cayo, right?
Nice.
Buena Vista del Cayo, based on what archaeologists tell us, is that Buena Vista del Cayo was once the marketplace for the Mayans. Yeah? We have different archaeological sites around this specific site here, but based on their finds, they do believe this was the marketplace. Their finds consist of ceramics, obsidian, and church. Right? That's the reason they do believe this was the marketplace for the Mayans. The site itself dates from 700 to 900 BC.
Nice.
Right? And as I mentioned, all the walls you see here, the front corbel arch.
Oh, I can go there.
Step. Here you go, Mr. Belizean.
I can chew it.
Yes, you can chew it. If you want more, I have more.
Is it spicy?
A little spicy.
It's
It's not spicy. It's not spicy.
Is it spicy, Andrea?
It's a different type of spice.
So all spice.
There you go. Sir. That's your name.
Cherry.
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 Cherry. Cherry will do.
Larry. What are you doing, Larry? Yeah, doing fine. Doing fine?
Yeah.
Yeah? How was it?
Good.
You enjoy it?
Yes, I did.
The guys did enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's nice.
Alright. Very nice.
The river tubing experience was fun. First of all, in our attempt not to miss anything, we asked the guide to take the longest and most difficult route, thinking we'd all just be carried along by the current. Instead, we had to paddle with our arms almost the entire time, and it turned out to be pretty exhausting. So much so that, halfway through, the guide asked if we wanted to continue. We said yes because no one wanted to ruin the experience for the others, but after 2 minutes the guide made us stop for good, probably because we looked completely worn out. From my point of view, my tube was losing air. The guide inflated it by mouth after about an hour, but it kept deflating anyway. Gillian tried to paddle backwards, but ended up going from one side of the river to the other, instead of straight. Her mom, Brenda, was being towed along by the guide. The only relaxed one was Terry, who on this occasion delivered his most famous line, along with constantly confusing my name with Alex, which was, after the guide had told us to stay on the left side of the river, but which left side?
I was nice. I was nice. Still no water on it.
If you're feeling a little warm, use your hammock. Okay?
Oh, that's the reason why it's mandatory to refresh.
Tell me before you do it so I can just
I'm not going to do that.
You're not going to do that?
No, I'm feeling okay.
You're not feeling hot?
Oh, it's very relaxing. It started raining.
Are you getting wet?
Yeah.
Alright, the upcoming rapid is gonna be here to our river right, okay? And now I'm pointing to my left hand, but that's river right. See?
Yes.
So we want to go there? Okay.
Yes, we want to go there. Huh? On the upcoming rapid, okay?
Day 10, we moved from San Ignacio to Kikoker in Belize. When we arrived, the weather was kind of bad and it was raining a lot and there was a lot of white mud all around. So we didn't really have the opportunity to do a lot, and we basically booked the snorkeling for the next day. And we stayed there. In the evening we went to see this bay in which the stingray were coming to shallow water, and there was the possibility to enter with the feet and have the stingray pass on top of your feet, giving back this feeling of velvet on top of you.
Thank you. Yeah, but I go back.
Well, after that we were like going to have dinner, but before we saw the sunset.
Oh, there is a rock. Jillian, this is cool and we don't even need to paddle.
I know, what a waste of effort yesterday. What a
Now
waste.
you look like upset.
What a waste of
You should
effort.
not be upset.
As I said, day 10 finished with the bay with stingray, dinner, and then finally karaoke, in which we met people from another G Adventure tour that we have already met some days before, and they were there and we were spending a bit of time with them.
Also because I was very, like, I was feeling lucky to have seen one who was laughing. And here they're like, oh.
Can you just give me a kiss?
Ciao. Oh.
Allora sì che io vorrei nel mio silenzio il mare calmo della sera, però
Day 11 was the day we did snorkeling. First stop to this point with this huge fish, the Tarpon Cove. Second stop was to see sea turtles. I'm a bit annoyed, because both me and the guide we went very close to turtles here, and all was good. but later on the guide blamed me for going too close to them. Anyway, in terms of sea life, this snorkeling has been even better than the 3 dives that I did. Ah, and by the way, the guy with the t-shirt is our snorkeling guide, while we also had obviously Alex, that is our full tour guide. This is the third stop, the best one. Apart this small introduction with Maria and me, in this area we saw mainly nurse shark and barracudas, but also some stingray. The reason why the guide made that sound is because I was getting too close to the stingray. There is this story of Steve Irwin, who died for a sting of a bull stingray in Australia. Let's be clear, Steve was hit in the heart. I was not getting enough close that the stingray, that by the way it is not so fast, could have decided to hit me in a vital part. Just because people think I'm crazy, no, I am not. I never take any risk with animals. Sharks are not attacking humans. Let me read some facts. Usually there are 60 to 80 attacks, unprovoked attacks per year. But the fatalities are on average 8 per year. And the regional hotspot is usually United States, where there are 25 on average incident per year, with Florida being the most concentrated hotspot. The activities involved are usually related to surfers. So surfers and board sport participants account for the highest percentage of incident, like 61%. And the most dangerous species are the great white, the tiger and the bull shark. Shark attacks are exceptionally rare, with a person being far more likely to be killed by a lightning strike or even falling coconuts. if we want to say that something is risky, I would say that this thing of having like a stingray swim on top of you, and especially on top of your chest, is much more dangerous than getting close to the stingray from behind and just filming it. This is the last stop, the fourth. There should have been a fifth to say particular fish, but I don't remember name or what it was looking like. But for some reason that I forgot, we skipped it. This stop has been way less amazing than the previous ones, but still, the water was gorgeous, and there has been some nice corals, fish, and anyway, snorkeling is always a great activity. And by the way, this is a barracuda. Here we are. That cave was full of fish and it was looking amazing, so we tried to get kind of close of it, till the guide for the snorkeling tour decided to humiliate us by doing what you are going to see. Yeah, sure, the world champion of free diving. Congratulations. Anyway, after the snorkeling, we had lunch on the boat, then we came back. Please note, most of us had a painful sunburn, because you cannot really protect yourself underwater. The sunscreen is washed away and you should use a t-shirt. When we finished the boat tour, we went to see the split. The island was a longer one till an hurricane called Hattie in 1961 partially split the island in two parts. Then men built a canal. There was also the occasion that I was waiting to wear my wonderful t-shirt for the brand of adult tools. Finally, we went back to the hotel, and then me, Victoria, Nicole and Marie, we went to see the sunset. After that, dinner and karaoke.
Because I'm having a good time, having a good time. To start taking to the sky, like a tiger, the pylons of gravity. Shitty is I'm the real shitty. You understand shitty, so just one thing. So all the real Slim Shitty. Stand up, please stand up, please stand up. Cause I'm Slim Shitty, so I'm the real shitty. You understand shitty, so just one thing. So all please Slim Shitty, please stand up, please stand up, please stand up. Like I did introduce you to, cause I'm only giving you things you talk about with your friends.
Chicken bus.
The pictures that you have just seen are related to day 12. That's the day that we traveled from Cay Coca to Playa del Carmen. We started moving at 6:10 am, and after a boat with Capitan Tacos, a taxi, the chicken bus, the border, a private bus, lunch at 5 p.m. and other 5 hours of travel, we arrived at the hotel at 10 p.m. with the change of time zone, so 15 hours of travel. And we say goodbye to Ellen and Grace, unfortunately.
¿Qué pasó?
This is the procession because day 14 was Saturday, April the 4th, the day after Good Friday. Here you can see an impassioned Barabbas stirring up the crowd after having been granted mercy by Pontius Pilate.
Implorar piedad. Se va a cometer el crimen más abominable de la historia. He oído obrar maravillosos milagros. Ama y socorre a los pobres y es inmensamente misericordioso con los pecadores. Sin duda, Él es el Santo de Dios.
I think this needs a bit of explanation. On day 14, the only plan was to watch the procession starting around 1 p.m. So I went to have breakfast and stumbled upon a small procession. I ate a ton of fruit and cereal plus a fruit smoothie as well, and then had to rush back to the hotel to go to the bathroom. After that, I took a walk on the beach and then headed to the start of the procession. I arrived late, but Terry and Caroline were already there. We didn't follow the whole procession. We saw it begin and watched the crucifixion. So basically we caught the cliffhanger. The evening ended in a pub, with part of the group getting drunk on tequila, but I couldn't, since the next day I had 2 dives planned. And here we are at the finale. The last day, the one that is usually meant for heading home, I, having paid to stay one extra day, used it to do 2 very expensive dives into cenotes, Chicken Ha and Taj Mahal. First of all, a couple of thoughts, again about safety. My dive master, an Italian from Veneto with many years of experience, gave a very deep and insightful briefing on what was going to happen. However, I still never actually did this body check. We set up the equipment, checked that the pressure was fine, and tested the regulator in the water, but I didn't check any of his gear, and he didn't check any of mine. Things like making sure the clips were secured, that the valves were working, and all those things my instructor had drilled into my head. I just never checked them. Also, I have an open water certification, and as you can see, this isn't exactly open water. He told me that to dive here, only the guide needs to have the technical certification with a cave specialization, but still, I wouldn't know what to do if, for example, I had to perform an emergency ascent. He did have a backup tank, sure, but I don't know. It all felt a bit different from how it is supposed to be. Anyway, let me say something. The experience of diving, especially when the water is so clear and the lights are so beautiful, is absolutely amazing. And also there is obviously the experience that for me is quite new of the zero gravity, so floating in the water and being stable, meaning that your buoyancy is good. It's absolutely amazing. And here you can see what the cenote was looking like, and all around me all those colors. That was absolutely astonishing. Obviously the camera is a limitation on what I was seeing. Indeed, in the direction you cannot see it very well, but the light was hitting the water in a way that it was looking like a rainbow, and it was amazing, to be fair. Quite proud of my skills, because as you can see right now, I was able to swim in that small hole by keeping my buoyancy perfect, and that was not expected because my buoyancy has always been very bad. This is the second cenote, Taj Mahal. I'd like to use these 6 minutes of footage to thank all my travel companions, starting with Victoria, who was the only one who disappeared after the night of the drinking session. When I moved from the pub to go back to the hotel, I tapped her on the shoulder to say goodbye, but she was sitting at the table with another G-Adventure group and wasn't very responsive. From that moment on, she didn't show up again for the next 2 days. I would like to remember her for being my master, for sharing with me a lot of food, ice cream, drinks, for sharing with me like breakfasts, for all the jokes, for all the photos, and I would like to forget all the moments in which she misbehaved. Then Ellen and Grace. The 4 of us created the Black Moles Fan Club, a chat to say stupid stuff. Finding out they were leaving a couple of days early was sad, although the fact that they were on their honeymoon and the chains and handcuffs that kept falling out of Ellen's luggage makes me think they understandably had other plans. Nicole and Marie were incredibly sweet throughout the whole trip. I think it's worth remembering the night when they, in the same hotel where it happened to me, found a tiny cockroach and screamed at the top of their lungs. At first I thought they have killed someone, and it's already too late to check who. Then I heard something being slammed over and over. They were the 2 of them hunting it down. You know, murder is one thing, but torture is another, so I went to check, and by the time I got there, the guy at the reception had already finished the job. I remember Terry for the line, "But which left?" But also for mixing up my name with Alex right up until the last day. Other than that, thanks for the photos. Debbie and Caroline for being choir buddies, having both been part of a choir themselves, and especially for being karaoke partners. Catherine saved me in the first few days with medicine when I wasn't feeling well, but she and Larry were great company throughout the whole trip, and I was really impressed by Evelyn and McCree for their experience across so many disciplines, martial arts, swimming and more. Of course, I'll mainly remember Gillian and Brenda as fellow sufferers during the river tubing. And finally, a special thanks to Alex, who made the whole trip smooth and trouble-free, and for bringing back the key I forgot to return to the hotel. After the dive, I met with almost every member who was still in Playa del Carmen, except Victoria. And after dinner, we went to have some drinks at the same pub that the day before. This time I could enjoy drinking. The day after, we had breakfast all together, and then the rest of the day was dedicated to travel to the airport and from there back in UK.